Happy Halloween, my spooky friends! If you guys are interested in learning how to do this Mickey Pumpkin Halloween Disney Minnie Mouse ears, wow, that was a handful, please stay tuned. You're gonna love this DIY.
Okay guys, we are back at it again. These pieces of foam I actually got out of a shoe. So it came with the shipping for the shoe and I thought, wow, wouldn't that be amazing to use for a DIY? It is an incredible thickness for foam and I just thought, why not try and make something out of it? So I took my stencil that I have for my ears and then I also made a little stencil for the ears that are going to be on top of that. So I just outlined that, traced it on with a pen, and we're going to start to cut. So let's do this. So I know that this is a family-friendly channel, but I'm going to actually use a knife to cut this. So if you are, a young kid or you're doing this with your family, then please get permission to use any dangerous materials. You probably should be using a cutting mat underneath it, but to get through a thick piece of foam like this, you're really gonna need something better than scissors. So I'm gonna finish cutting them all out. You'll see in 1 second. So we got one of them cut out. So as you could see, we have this one. We're gonna cut out the rest of the ears. Definitely makes it a lot easier. We're gonna go through and clean up some of the edges, but we also will be lining the edges with some ribbon or whatever you choose to do. But that's how it's gonna look. I just thought this was the most perfect piece of foam. Had to use it. So now that we have both of these pieces cut out and the ears cut out, we're gonna actually paint them orange. So I'm just gonna use an orange acrylic paint. Hopefully that'll cover this. If not, we're gonna go over with some fabric.
By the end, I think I used about 3 coats on all of them, and that made it really opaque. And then once the paint dried, I went over and I did a little Mickey face with a permanent marker. You could do it with paint too, but it just makes it really easy to control where you're putting your lines if you use a marker. So instead of ribbon, I actually went in with these strips of glitter foam. I loved having them be sparkly on the edges, so I just measured out the width of the ears and I cut them to the length of what I would need for them. So after they're all cut out, we're gonna line them up to where they need to go and glue them down. So these foam strips that I cut out actually have the sticky backs, so I put a little bit of hot glue down and then I also took the strips off so I can have the sticky back and just lined it along the ear and tried to get it as close as possible to what I needed to line it up with the ear. So now that the big ears are done, we are actually going to make the tiny pumpkin ears for the larger ears, if that makes sense. So we are just doing the same step. We are cutting out the length and the width of the small ears, and then we're going to line it with the hot glue and the sparkly foam. Now that we actually covered all of the ears, we are going to start gluing them down. So because this is a foam, I'm going to lay down a piece of scrap fabric, could be anything, just to help secure it. If not, sometimes with the heat, it will just sort of melt through. So this will help prevent that and it will help it stick on the ear. And now we have our wonderful pumpkin shimmery ears. Yay! And so next, we are actually going to be lining the bottom of the big ear again for the same reason, to help the foam not melt. And then we are going to attach these to our headband. I wanted to use a sparkly green sequin bow to help match our new sparkly pumpkin ears. I actually wanted to make this a smaller bow, so I made it about 8 by 10. If you normally make larger bows, it's totally up to you. I didn't want it to cover what we did with the face, but I am just gluing the good sides together. You can also sew it, but for a lot of people that don't know how to sew, this is a good alternative. And once you finish gluing that side, you can turn it inside out. Then you're going to do the same thing with the other side. You are going to have the good side facing you and then glue it so that by the time that you finish gluing them together, you will see the seam, and then you will flip it inside out once again. I'm also trimming a little bit of fabric off to make it a little bit less bulky on the edges. So as we're taking our little piece of fabric for the center of the bow, I like to fold in the edges as to give it a little bit of a cleaner look. So I just hot glue the sides and then I fold it over again to give it a really, really clean look. Make sure it dries. Sometimes I get impatient, but then you're gonna wrap that around the center. Now that both of my ears are glued onto the headband, I'm going to start working with the bow, and I'm going to sort of pinch it together. I make some folds, almost like an accordion fold, and then I glue a little bit at a time just to hold it together. And then by the time that is held in place, I go around and I glue the center piece, the fabric, onto the bow, and then I glue it onto the headband. And as with most things in hot glue, you want to hold it there for a few seconds, probably a good 10 seconds, just to hold it in place and make sure it doesn't come undone. And there you have it, your own Mickey Mouse pumpkin ears that you made from recycled materials, or at least I did. I really wanted to be able to use this styrofoam in a productive way, but I hope you enjoyed all my spookiness. I love to make ears. I actually have an Etsy shop if you guys are interested in checking that out, but I just love to do Halloween Disney DIYs. Halloween's my favorite time of the year, and I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments. Give this video a big thumbs up, and don't miss any more DIY videos. Hit that subscribe button. Happy Halloween!